Hello and welcome. I hope that you are doing well. Thank you so much for joining me here today. And we've made it to my final book for March, and that book is House of Yesterday by Deeba Zargarpur. This is the book I selected for the black spin of the color wheel. And I've noticed that my reading tends to go in themes, whether intentionally or not. This month definitely is an example of this happening unintentionally. All of the storylines of the books I read for these reviews involved characters dealing with loss, whether it was loss through a death, loss through friends deciding they didn't want to be friends anymore, or from an illness that removes someone from the present. In House of Yesterday, Sarah is facing difficulties and uncertainties. Her grandmother, who lives with the family, is ill and getting worse. Her parents are separated, and Sarah is not sure of their future as a family. She has distanced herself from everyone. She hardly speaks to her father. She no longer speaks to her best friend Sam, which is difficult because he lives next door and he works for her family's house flipping business. In the latest house they are working on, Sarah sees a vision of a woman who she believes is her grandmother at a younger age. Later she goes through her grandmother's things looking for proof of her suspicions. She finds a photo of her grandmother that she is sure was taken in that house. And while she's talking to her grandmother tells her that she's had 12 children, 11 daughters and 1 son. And that's one more daughter than anyone knows about. So has she just gotten mixed up, or is there a story? After experiencing more visions in that house, including one of a young girl, Sarah is convinced that that young girl is the missing daughter. She believes that house holds secrets of her mother's family's past. And maybe if she can uncover those secrets, their futures will be better. House of Yesterday is beautifully written and explores the impact on the present of a family's unresolved issues from the past. There are paranormal elements in this book, some of which I really enjoyed. What are some other titles to read for a similar experience? And here we are focusing on stories where the characters' past or their family's past is affecting their life in the present. Killing Time by Brenna, Ehrlich. It's told in 2 time periods. Natalie's time period from the present as a high school senior, and Helen, her mother's past, her first year of college. Natalie has just learned that her favorite teacher has been murdered. This is the teacher that introduced her and got her involved in the true crime club at school. Natalie is so into true crime that her and her best friend Katie create and produce a true crime podcast. Natalie and Katie, wanting to ensure that the killer is caught, begin investigating the murder themselves. Natalie, of course, does not tell this to her mother. She doesn't tell her about her interest in crime. She doesn't tell her about the podcast, and she definitely doesn't tell her that she's investigating the murder. Her mom is just so overprotective and wouldn't understand. Through the events of the story and looking back at Helen's past, we begin to see that Helen may understand more than Natalie realizes, and that the murder may be related to Helen's past. The Forest of Stolen Girls by June Her, and this is young adult historical fiction taking place in 1426. Juan's life is never the same after the day that her sister disappears and is later found in a forest near another crime scene. Years later, when their father, a detective, learns that 13 girls have recently disappeared from that same area, he investigates and then he disappears. Juani then begins her own investigation into the disappearances, hoping that if she discovers what happened to those 13 girls, she will be able to find her father. But this investigation causes her and her sister's paths to cross. Juani comes to realize that the solution to these disappearances may be buried in her own memories of the day her sister disappeared. Ghostwood Song by Erica Waters. Shady Grove inherited her father's curly hair, his love of bluegrass music, and his ability to call ghosts by playing his fiddle. But that fiddle is in the lake where her father drowned. Years later, Shady's brother is accused of the murder of their stepfather. And while others believe him guilty, Shady knows that he is not. And she has a decision to make. Should she attempt to retrieve her father's fiddle so she can prove that her brother is innocent? But that fiddle is trouble. Is there another way that she can prove his innocence? And there we are. I hope that you enjoyed this look at House of Yesterday, and I hope that you will give it or all of these titles a read. I will be back very soon when we will discover what I am reading in April. I hope that you will join me then, and until then, I hope that you enjoy all that you do and all that you read. And thank you.